Friends, we'll be starting our next session, which is on role of big tech and startups in smart mobility. For this session, I call upon stage our distinguished speakers, Mr. Santosh Sankaradasan, Executive Vice President, SBI CAPS, Mr. Rajan Bhandari, Head Public Sector, Head Public Sector Business, Cisco, Mr. Rahul Ghatge, Associate Vice President Projects, Vertus Infrastructure Trust, Mr. Piyush Tiwari, Founder, Save Life Foundation, Shri Sanjay Nirmal, former DG, Roads and Special Secretary, Ministry of Road Transport of Highways, Shri Jaideep Shom, Deputy Director General, Head of Group E-Transport and Common Services Platform NIC, Shri Amrit Singha, Chief Project Officer, Indian Highways Management Company Limited.
Good afternoon. I welcome you all to this last session of this one-day conference on smart roads in India. And the topic of this session is the role of big technology and startup in making smart mobility a reality in India. Now, what is smart mobility? We have heard about smart road in the first two sessions. Then we had talked about what is smart contract. And this session we will be talking about the smart mobility and how we can improve this mobility and what will be the role being played by big technology players as well as by startups. Now, who are the big technology players? We have international big players, Indian players. We have seen Map My India is one of the player who is working on this, and Google Map is another player where they are working on this mobility aspect and how to manage the routes. Then we have large conglomerates like TCS and Infosys. They are also big technology players and they are working on IoT and cloud platforms and ITS systems. We have Amazon Web Service, Microsoft Services. Who are having AI capability to contribute in this particular area. And there we have a large number of startups already working in the road and road transport technology. More than 100 startups are already working. And some of them are like Ola Electric and Ethernergy. Then Rapido is also working on this. Then we have Ola, Uber. And government is also trying to come in this particular field in improving mobility. Single app, and they will be having different providers. Then we want to have now this sustainable transport. That is another important area. We already heard what is the contour of smart contract from our secretary, who has explained in detail about the changes he has brought out in the new document. And their efficiency of our concessionaires contracts also will be judged, and that will also be rated. Already we have 6.3 million kilometer road. Now the challenge is to maintain that particular road. Maintaining the efficiency of this particular road network. Apart from that, safety, sustainability, resilience. So here we see that there is a big role to be played by big technology and the startup. And startup need to develop now innovative solutions. We need to develop smart traffic management, because the kind of traffic which is going to come in the coming years, and we have seen the growth rate of vehicles. So this will be a big challenge. Then AI powered predictive maintenance technology, road safety solutions. We have also road safety expert in this particular session. Then another area is the resources problem, because use resources are being used for construction of roads. So we need to have these sustainable construction materials, and a lot of startups can come in that particular area also. The government's initiative like Startup India scheme and the National Infrastructure Pipeline, they have further fostered this particular growth. So this session, we have the stakeholders from industry, from government, and the startup ecosystem, and we will explore that how to maximize the impact of startup in transforming India's road sector. So we have from government, we have distinguished guest of honors from Sri Joydeep Shom, DDG, Head of Group E-Transport and CSP, NIC. NIC is well known for this particular e-mobility issues from the government. Then we have Amit Singham, CPO, IHMCL, they will share the role of government in technology and policy provider. Then we also have our funding institutions like SBI, CAP, Cisco, and Vertis Infrastructure Trust represented here. They will share their views on innovative funding and role of startup which can come. And we also have Sri Piyush Tiwari, who is well-known expert in road safety, and we will be talking about this safety mobility. So without wasting any further time, I think I will first invite the speakers from government. So from NIC, I think first let us discuss. Mr. Shom, please.
Yeah, thank you, Nirmalji. And good afternoon, everybody. First, I extend my thanks to the organizers for inviting me to this session. And the topic today is a very pertinent topic because the road in India is expanding in leaps and bounds. And thanks to the huge initiatives taken by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and the NHAI, there has been phenomenal change in the infrastructure in the last few years. And one thing is that it is not a just infrastructure project. Now, anything that we think as purely infrastructure is essentially, it is intertwined with the digital infrastructure also. The roads that we see at one point of time, they might have been just a like physical mechanism to allow the vehicles to ply. But now it is related to so many other things. So and all these things require digital interventions. All these things require high-tech interventions, and because of that, the whole game changes, because the roads are not for plying vehicles, but they are meant for plying vehicles safely, efficiently, and also to provide the mechanism for various agencies to manage the roads. For instance, if the road has been built by an agency, then it requires to be monetized. So in that case, the tolling is an important part of the road infrastructure. How the tolling has to be made, how the system has to operate with minimum hassles to the road users, and also to maximize the revenue. So this is one aspect. The other aspect is the safety and security. So if we use the roads, then the accident is something that is unfortunately going up in tandem with the type of road or the good infrastructure that is coming up. But unfortunately, more accidents are also happening. More people are dying on the roads. So how to make our roads safer? That is another important aspect. Then the enforcement of the road discipline. This is also again connected with the road safety. So when the roads are good, then there is a tendency to rush, and that causes accidents. There has to be discipline on the roads, and for that, the enforcement has to be very strict. And when we are also combining the things, like now the tolling is proposed to go barrierless. So if that is so, in that case, there will be a tendency for people to avoid the avoid the payment. So how to discipline them, how to catch hold of such delinquent road users and to get the penalty amount and the the toll collected from them. So these are the things, and in all these aspects, there is a cooperation among the government, among the road building agencies, and road owner, the users, and also the technology providers. So we see that there are so many technology providers who have come up in a big way. So when we come to the say traffic enforcement solution, you see that nowadays there has been a lot of device-based traffic management system. So here the ITMS plays an important role, integrated intelligent traffic management system, that allows the road to be used efficiently, that allows the road to be properly disciplined, that allows the road to be used used in an efficient and in a manner where everyone benefits. So in this respect, there are devices fitted in different areas, starting from the tolling mechanism and then the enforcement mechanism. You will see there the cameras, the speed monitoring devices, the cameras, the NPR cameras and other speed limiting devices. Then there will be devices like which sensors, for instance, like whether the vehicle is going with overload. So there are overload bridges are set up along the highways. So in all these areas, the technology is coming into play. And then there is the communication part. So whenever some data is collected at any point of time, whether it's the camera collecting the information, whether the sensor collecting an information, there is a need to transmit the data. And so there is a communication. So there will be communication channels to be set up along the roads. Maybe there will be a huge amount of edge computing devices which will be set up along the roads for making the calculations quickly, because there will be a lot of information which needs to be accurately collected and processed at the spot itself. There will be AI-based interventions at different points. So for all those technologies are required, and these have already started. You will see in various places. For instance, there are cameras which can detect any type of violation, which are, say, driving without seat belt, driving without helmet, or tripping riding a bike. So these require cameras which have got AI capability. And how the cameras will process the data. So for that, there will be edge computing devices on the roads, which will be set up on the roadside itself. So in these areas, there are Indian companies which have come up in a very impressive way. There have been a number of deep tech companies which have innovated in a big way, and they have come up with solutions which are being implemented in the road infrastructure across the country. And this is going to go up and up in days ahead, because the enforcement system, the tolling system, everything will in a way gradually go totally automated. It's not possible to man everything with people on the road. We cannot police everything. The enforcement cannot be done by the policemen on the road. We have to use devices, and we have to use devices which are intelligent, which can be processed properly. So for that, the infrastructure has to be put into place properly. So as I mentioned earlier, for instance, the communication channels. You can see that initially in the railway system, when the railways started to modernize their signal communication system, they set up optical communication channels across along their railway lines. Gradually, this became a major backbone for their entire communication system. Then it was found that these communication channels have got excess capacity. And so they converted this into another system of monetized version. So Railtel has come into play, and that has become one of the biggest network provider in the country. That was not originally planned, but gradually it has come. It is an offshoot of the whole requirement. That was internal requirement that has become a service provider in another way. Similarly, we can see that innovations which are happening in the road system also, they will also provide in a big way and open up enormous opportunities in the future. Already we are seeing so many new things which are coming. through this intervention of IT, through intervention of data. As you know, there is a data is another important part, and we have got a large amount of data which is being collected in different points of time, be it the tolling data, the movement of the vehicles across the road, or for instance there are other devices like we have got the systems of like Vahan, which is covering all the vehicles. We have got 40 crore vehicle details of all vehicles with all their details in the database. Then all the drivers details we have got in the Sarthi system. We have got the e-challan system. Already around 35 crores challans have been issued digitally in the last few years, and all the data is there. So going by these, we know that there is a lot of data, and these data can be used by different organizations. So already the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is thinking in the positive way how this data can be used by all the stakeholders. The data, once the data is shared with proper security, of course, that is the private information should not be divulged. But otherwise, the data which is required for business purpose for various organizations, that data also has to be shared. So you can see the synergy which is coming into play, the data which is coming from the government, the facilitation or the governance which is coming from the government side, and then the innovation and the the energy which is coming from the startups and big techs. That is there is a lot of new technology that is being put up, and going forward we can see that a lot of innovations will make the road users journey a lot more easier, lot more safer, and lot more quicker. So we are looking forward to that day when we can use deep tech technology, and we can have a good amount of contribution from our startups and big companies, and they can support our road infrastructure, they can support our engineering system and the road design, and they can improve the road quality also, and the whole thing can make a positive impact on the whole system. So looking forward to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sri Jagdiji, for bringing out various technology from NIC. Now I will invite another our guest of honor, Sri Amrit Singh Ji, who is Chief Project Officer, IHMCL. IHMCL is responsible for toll collections and ITS solutions in NHAI. Please.
I think this is my second session for the day, so I will try to be brief as much as possible and give others to speak about. So, see, as we have already spoken in the first half also, that IHMCL is primarily working on the FASTag. So, when I joined FASTag program in 2018, hardly the collection was around 19 crore per day. Today is more than 200 crore per day, and at the time we had around 300 toll plazas. Now we have more than 1800 toll plazas, which covers more than 650 state toll plazas also. So we have expanded the FASTag program to the state toll plazas as well. Now coming back to the topic of today's this session, so it talks about the startups and the big techs. Startup, I don't know who represent on the dais who are representing startup, but in the things which we do, we have tried to nurture startups as well. For example, there was the Startup India policy which was released by the government of India. So, and accordingly, when we did our request for empanelment, the system integrators empanelment, we did consider that particular policy guideline of government of India and gave some relaxation. Number one, in terms of annual turnover, 1/5 was lowered for startup. Number two, in terms of prior experience also, because that particular policy talked about giving relaxation to startups in one annual turnover and prior experience. So that was taken care, and as a result, so I have myself experienced so many startups mushrooming in this FASTag program. So be it in terms of the system integrator who system integrator is an entity in the ecosystem who install the readers, the cameras at the toll plazas, right? And there are other entities who perform at the back end, mainly they engage with the banks. For example, we have the member banks, acquirer bank, issuer bank, NPCI. This all settles the flow of the money or the transaction at the back end. So which we might not see on a road, but this all this transaction being settled on a real time basis. So every second, I think as we speak now, toll plaza 130 number of toll plaza transaction has already happened by now. So every second 130 transactions are happening, and these are all happening because at the back end there are some banks. There are 38 banks. There are 10 to 12 number of acquirer banks. And the point I'm mentioning why bank, because all these banks, bearing one or two bank, all of them have engaged the system, technology service provider, and these players are all very some small category, players. These are not someone who has very vast experience, or these are all driven by individual who have the knack of the business, right? And if the bank rely on them, they give this in, and they are doing excellent job in their particular businesses. So, so the one thing is the tolling domain and startup, as I mentioned. So there is another domain which we can work on is the analytics part. So as I am mentioning that the more than 1.2 crores of transactions are happening per day. So the enormous data which is lying in IHMCL or NHEI, so which we are doing our analytics part. So there can be a lot of entities who can harness or help us harness this enormous data which we are having. So the big tech can also play, because all this data we have engaged AWS server cloud services for this particular hosting of this data. So on top of this server, we can build on many more applications so that we can make the best use of this data. Second project which I spoke in the first half also was the ATMS. Now ATM is again not relating to tolling or revenue collection, but it pertains to the road safety part. Now every kilometer of road is having one camera at least, and every 10 kilometer there would be enforcement camera as per the policy. Now imagine the type of data which is going to be generated from this system, right? So we are talking about some 50,000 kilometers of 4 lane and above highways who are going to be surveillance, 124/7 surveillance, and enforced also, right? So for all this data, I believe we have big startups, big tech and the startups who can help us, and the government also, to guide how to harness this data and how to push this data. Joydeep sir mentioned about the MLFF tooling part. So at the back end also, we are in the process of signing an MOU. NHEI is in the process of signing an MOU with NIC to help us I must say, to extend the uses of e-challan application. Now what we are proposing is that somebody who has defaulted in paying will be issued some kind of a notice in a similar way in e-challan is issued. So so when a e-notice is generated, so there would be some validation team, and at the back end also we have to ensure how this payment is done in a seamless manner. So ATM is one part, and I think third project which IHMCL is not directly doing, but NHI is doing, is the road asset management system. So recently NHI has also published the expression of interest for the dash cam camera, so that the road asset monitoring can be done on a real time basis, so that it's a continuous and predictive maintenance and all those stuff can be done. So in this field also, I think the startup, I think, by the way, there were 32 application which NHI has released for this particular EOI. So NHI remains, or IHMCL remains, as an ocean of opportunity for the tech startups to come and play their role. In the past also, IHMCL has tied up or collaborated with MeitY startup hubs. It's again an entity or an initiative by the government of the Ministry of IT to promote the startup and how we can try to implement some of the innovative ideas which the startups of the are doing in their respective fields. So that's it. And I think they're more challenging. There are some more thing, I think, which I look up to the startups and the big tech to help us solve, like the problem of overload collection. as we are talking about the multi-lane free flow or the barrierless free flow. So we need to also see how we can collect the overload collection on the high speed. As on date, there is some kind of stop and go, and somebody goes to the static wave bridge and pays the thing. But when it will be a free flow one, so weighing a moving vehicle at a speed of 80 kilometer or say 40 kilometer also is a huge task. For that also we are working, and we are looking out to the industry for some kind of a POC, so that we are ready for the when we do the MLFF also. Now this particular overload collection is still open because we don't have an answer for it, neither technology or neither the policy part. So my belief is that when uh, uh, technology travels with policy, we can that this mobility will not be just a movement; will become a transformation. So that's it. Thanks for that, and look to hear from the other speakers as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Srimarji, for bringing out some of the technologies which you are promoting startup. I think one area still remains that there you can have I don't know which department of NHI, but sustainable materials. There are a lot of new technologies which have been approved by Ministry of Road Transport, even the Indian Road Congress. They have accredited many technologies, and there is a lot of scope for startups to come. In fact, they are not finding any projects where they can take pilots. So that is one area where NHI can help the startups in implementing these pilot projects, so that they get, the agencies get confidence, and then they can be mainstreamed in future. So with that, now I have a request from Sri Piyush Tiwari ji. I think he has an appointment after this particular session. So he will be talking about the perspective of safe mobility, because safety is another very important aspect when we are talking about the technology and all. So Sri Piyush Tiwari ji is founder, Save Life Foundation.
Thank you, Sanjay, Nirmalji, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you also to the CII for bringing all of us together for this very timely conversation. The theme of this session resonates closely with our mission at Save Life Foundation, because at the heart of smart mobility lies safe mobility. And if it isn't safe, it simply cannot be smart. India today has one of the largest road networks and the fastest growing road networks in the world, more than 6 million kilometers and counting. And yet, every year, we lose more than 170,000 people on our roads. And these are not just numbers. Behind every number is a person, is a family, and is a story that has been abruptly ended. And every crash, as we have studied at Save Life Foundation, is not due to a single failure. It's the cumulative result of several failures that have come together. A blind curve that wasn't fixed, a design flaw in a vehicle, an untrained first responder, a delayed ambulance, or simply data that was never acted upon. Our investments in concrete and asphalt have outpaced our investments in data, design, and accountability. And that gap is costing us lives. Technology, as we've heard before from the other speakers, and as you may have heard through the day, can help fill this gap. Not just by digitizing what exists, but by reimagining how systems talk to each other. Think about what's possible. AI and predictive analysis can identify crash-prone zones before tragedies occur. IoT sensors and connected vehicles can trigger instant emergency alerts. DPGs, digital public goods, can allow the police, health departments, and highway authorities to work off the same data set in real time. And behavioral tech tools can nudge drivers towards safer decisions, just as fintech nudged millions towards digital payments. This isn't theoretical, this is actually taking place around the world as we speak. Sweden's Vision Zero framework, for example, uses real-time crash data to redesign entire road systems. The Netherlands maps conflict points between cyclists and vehicles using AI to guide urban design. And in New York and LA, machine learning is being used to predict where the next crash might occur so it can be prevented. Now, India has the scale and the ingenuity to go beyond these benchmarks. But we need to connect innovation to impact through public purpose technology. At Save Life Foundation, we've seen firsthand how this approach works. On the Mumbai-Pune Expressway, our Zero Fatality Corridor program implemented with the government of Maharashtra reduced deaths by over 50%. We achieved that not through a single gadget or a campaign, but with a system, using data to guide engineering corrections, strengthening enforcement, and improving emergency medical response. And now, through our partnership with the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways and NHAI, the model is being scaled to 100 highways and 100 districts across the country. And technology sits at the very heart of this scale-up. We're working closely with MORTH and IIT Kanpur to develop an AI layer over EDAR, which is the National Crash Database, to intuitively detect systemic issues with regard to infrastructure, enforcement, and emergency response. We have built a road safety vulnerability index that uses geospatial, behavioral, and enforcement data to heat map and fix crash sites. And we have tested drones fitted with AI cameras to preemptively identify parked vehicles on the side of the highway so we can prevent rear-end collisions. Each of these innovations is designed not to replace human judgment, but to amplify it. Now, for India to lead the world in smart and safe mobility, we believe three things are essential. Open and interoperable data framework so that innovation doesn't stay trapped in silos. Regulatory sandboxes for startups to test safety tech on live corridors with government oversight. And policy incentives for solutions that measurably reduce crashes or improve emergency response, just as was done to incentivize green tech. Big tech, in this case, can provide scale, infrastructure, and analytics. Startups can bring the speed, ingenuity, and experimentation. And government can bring reach and legitimacy. In 2008, when I began working in this space, road crashes were seen as inevitable. Today, we know that they are preventable. If we can put a rover on the moon, I'm sure we can design roads where people don't die. Smart mobility is not about how autonomous our vehicles become or how fast our highways grow. It's about whether every journey ends safely, whether a child can cross the road and return home alive. That's the standard we must hold ourselves accountable to. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing out the safety perspective. Now we have three speakers who will be talking mostly about the funding issues and how innovative funding can be brought, because large number of projects are coming on HAM or even BOT. That today morning session we heard about BOT toll document finalized to how to attract more and more funds. So what kind of innovative funding and how this startup can help. So first, Executive Vice President SBI CAP, Mr. Santosh Sankardasan, please.
Hi, good evening there. When we talk of startups, and I mean the topic being startups and big techs, most times banks and financial institutions, they are averse to funding startups. But what we come across right now, especially in a sector like that of roads, you will find that because of the bundling that happens, the startups and the technology they provide getting bundled with with the developer offering, which means the developer only is responsible for uh, for having tie-ups with the different startups to provide the technology. I think the banking fraternity, the banks, should be comfortable doing that. That's mainly because if you look at it, there are the one most important thing that we find, there is no need for a separate financial model to be built to see whether this additional incremental capex for the digital purpose, that is the digital capex, is viable or not. There is no such requirement per se, because you will see that when it comes to availability, as far as a smart road is concerned, the availability goes up. It's less incident, that it's quite incident free. You will also see that uh, the throughput also goes up, because the more it is available, the more number of the vehicles get tolled. And so also with the predictive maintenance that smart roads talk of, you will find that the O&M cost also goes down. Now all these three actually would mean that there is no separate, which is what I was telling earlier, there is no separate need to be looking at the digital capex on a standalone basis being viable. So which is where the need is that, uh, as far as our smart highways are concerned, definitely the banks, the financial institutions will be willing to come forward, uh, mainly because within the tenor, which generally gets fixed because of more traffic inflow which happens, the viability really is very much going to be there. So this is one aspect which I thought we need to look at. So this is even without any additional revenues that we are talking of. Now, when it comes to additional revenues, definitely there are those different sources, be it the data monetization which is going to be there, be it the carbon credits, perhaps as and when it picks up in India, perhaps that could be a model which could be there for additional revenues. There could also be a possibility of the advertisements being there. So I think there are different such models which are available, which will be the additional top up revenues which will be there for these kind of projects. One thing, when you look at again the difference between startups and big techs, like the speaker earlier did say, the big techs primarily will have to be the ones who will be providing the infrastructure per se, maybe the optic fiber lines, cables, etc., maybe the data centers associated with it, the new advanced chipsets, the NVIDIA chipsets, etc., which might be needed for the AI usage. These are the things which will be more capex intensive, which the so-called cash-rich big techs could really come forward and do that. While the startups, I mean, that's we look forward to them to fill the gaps which are there, and because of their agility, the speed at which they can implement things, we look forward to the startups to be coming forward. So it's going to be primarily a play between government, the startups, the big techs, and the developer. Let's not forget the developer, because the developer is the one who is going to bundle the both the startups and the big techs to provide the smart road as far as the our requirements are concerned. The other point which I thought which we should look at is for the startups. Perhaps it's a very encouraging situation. Uh, the numbers which are there. The close to around 3 lakh, 3.5 lakh kilometers of highways which are there, out of which perhaps a few thousands is what would be the so-called smart roads per se. So which means the gap is huge for people, for the startups to really come forward and roll out whatever ideas they have. Of course, there is the Startup India Fund which is there, but perhaps the need per se could be some kind of a smart fund for the smart roads also need to be there, because this is one of the biggest infrastructure. Because whenever we talk of infrastructure layout, it's railways followed by roads, wherein there is a huge capex which is there, and which is the reason why perhaps those dedicated smart funds for smart roads is something which we can think of putting in place.
Thank you. Now I invite Mr. Rajan Bhandari, who is the head business Cisco system, to give his perspectives.
Small presentation which I have.
Okay. Try to squeeze in.
Yeah. Maximum 5 minutes. So, first of all, thank you very much, sir. Right, it's really an honor that you guys have called us, and again, the timing of this session is very crucial, because we are the backbone. That's how the Cisco is there, and that's why we are at the last side. We have heard about EV, we have about smart roads, IoTs, and all. I think that's where the Cisco resilience scalable environment works. We are really proud that in India, we have covered almost around 70 smart cities. We are almost around 50 command centers are running with us. It's not only that one aspects of business we are covering it up, it's an entire portfolio with them. It was really enlightened to see the way roads are being transformed, and then the truck drivers ecosystems are being created and the restaurants are being taken. I think that's where the Cisco plays a larger role, because today, while I talk about any kind of an application, the most important aspect is my connection available? Am I getting the Wi-Fi available at that point? Right? If I'm talking about payment gateway ecosystem, is my gateway ecosystem financially secure? Do I have a security in between? Because when on one side, whenever there's a fintech involved, there is a financial fraud involved, and what is needed is a more of a secure ecosystem. I think that's an area where Cisco plays a larger role in it, because the ecosystem what we are preparing is defined. Is basically been defined to create in a very rugged environment. I'll just quickly run 5 minutes into this. I think I just want to give you a perspective of what, from our perspective, in this whole transport vertical, what we mean by smart communities, and how we are touching all aspects, whether it's a business aspect, whether it's a road, anything which is nearby to roads, whether restaurants or petrol stations, and also where are we are connected. I think that's a ruggedity of a technology at the deep tech environment is an area where Cisco plays a major role. And some of the use cases which we have already implemented in the country are related to public safeties and security. These are the use cases, and we have multiple states where we are really proud that we are partnered with them and we have implemented these scenarios. Traffic and environment is a smarter, again, an area where we have implemented a lot of our rugged network routing and switching have been a part of it. Quite a good amount of making it this our AI mission or mighty approved data centers providers are using our technologies to give you the basic services. So that's a complete ecosystem we are there. And again, with our IoTs environments, we are working with a lot of traffic management and route planning optimization environment. I can't say this, but I think one of our core um, technology maps company was here. It's really a proud moment for us that we are creating together an ecosystem of digital twins. So that's where I think Cisco is committed in the country to help a lot of startups to build up, use our native technologies framework and build up on that. And most of this whole solutions from our side are a partner solutions where our core technology and partner ecosystems have been built. Cisco, we have multiple training aspects where we give back to the society in terms of training and fundings to a lot of startups to create a larger ecosystem. I think one very proud stuff for us is the Contela complete command center application, which we have done with our Indian partners with joint technology transfer sharing model. Some of the areas. So I just want to run through this because in a paucity of time, we understand this. As a business, we understand that with any kind of an application and all, and we are talking traffic, we are talking fast movement environment. In this, what is the most important is availability and ruggedity of a technology which is underlay. And that's where the ruggedness and the robust solution or a technology what we have is kind of a zero data loss or no connection lost environment that we work. And our partnerships are not only with the end customer. We partner with all the large service providers like Realtel or Airtel or Geos. So they use a lot of our technologies to give you a network what you need. I think just a brief touch. So what we are talking about, wherever data is flows, what it needs in Ethernet and a fiber, that's where our core competency is, right? Where we connect the ecosystem and the fibers to our Ethernets. We have rugged, a complete outdoor Wi-Fi ecosystem with the largest sustainability in play. Wi-Fi 7 we are talking about. We are right now on the leading stuff in this, and there are branch routers. I would say a router with a SIM wherever you have a issue of a connectivity. Those kind of a solutions we provide, and that's an area where we work with a lot of ISPs to give you back a lot of application frameworks. So in nutshell, this is my last slide. So we understand how to connect a fiber to a wireless and get in cellular and give you one robust ecosystem. That's what Cisco is all about. And the major emphasis for us today with all AI coming into play, I think the AI is something which we are embedding in our switching environment and routing environment. And you will see a lot of environments coming your way where we are talking about 800 gigs kind of a ports giving you the throughputs and all. So means we wish that in near time our citizen can drive the car at 200 speed, but still there's no network loss. So that's what we are here. Thank you very much to all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Mandari. Now I will invite Mr. Rahul Gatge, Associate Vice President Projects, What is Infrastructure Trust, one of the investors for the highway projects.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks CI for this particular opportunity. I'm from Vertis, which is KKR sponsored road InvIT. So basically, we own these road assets. So as Nirmal sir rightly said, India is having second largest road network in the world, spanning across 6 million kilometers. And this particular scale comes with the responsibility towards two P's out of three P's discussed by Honorable Minister, people and planet. And this particular thing we can achieve with the smart mobility, and smart mobility we can make it as a reality with the help of all the stakeholders. Unless and until all the stakeholders are in sync, like startups are there, big techs are there, private players or investors like us, and government, then it will not be possible. So I will try to focus mainly on the role of all the stakeholders, but we'll try to be concise because this is the last session of the day, so that will not take much of your time. So about the focus, we already discussed in the previous sessions. Earlier, we are mainly focusing on the nation building and improving connectivity. But now also there is a need of adoption of smart and sustainable practices so that we can make our infrastructure as intelligent. Smart mobility, I will again not touch upon because since morning we are discussing about the same. So with this smart mobility, what we can do is we can achieve various goals like safer roads, improved efficiency, lower maintenance cost, environment and sustainability gains. And of course, one of the most important is better user experience and public trust. which is one of the most important. If we'll talk about the solution providers or startups, how they can help to maximize the adoptions. So they need to pick whatever real and measurable problems are there, and if we'll focus on those areas by taking the feedback from the road users, road operators, then only we'll be able to achieve the smart mobility. And those solutions should be also aligned with the policy and standards. And if your solutions are good and those are not aligned with the policy and standards, we have to make the policy and standards also aligned with your solution. And at the last, but which is most important, your solution should be cost effective, because unless and until cost effectiveness is there, adoptions will not be there. Adoption will not be there. Of course, in certain areas like Save Life Foundation and POS is working, safety, where basically human lives comes first than the cost effectiveness. But yes, in most of the cases, cost effectiveness is one of the most important. Big techs, again, I will not touch upon, because Rajan already covered about the Cisco. Now about the private players like us, so how we can help to achieve this smart mobility. So basically we have to focus on the user and environment, keeping it at center, instead of just focusing on the whatever client and authority engineers are saying. So if we'll keep the user and environment at center and identify the real world challenges, then we'll be able to give those challenges to the startups and big techs for solving those solutions, solving those problems with the tech. Then we can also help these startups, and we can do the joint investment into those technologies. We can do the co-development with them. And yes, early adoption, which I think all the players, road operators can do, because if we'll adopt those solutions at a nascent stage, then by collaborative approach, I can uh, assure you will be able to achieve the whatever goal is there at much faster speed. And last but one of the most important is we have to share this learning with other road operators and road owners, because unless and until we'll share these experiences with other peers, then scalability will not be there. Government, I think since morning we are discussing a lot about it, but if certain solutions can be adopted with the mandate like FASTag, we have adopted, and such a success we have achieved in recent few years. The rest of the things, I think many the panelists have already covered. But in my view, we can also think about framing some smart mobility goals like United Nations Sustainability Development Goals, wherein all the 17 goals are there and people are trying to align with it. So we can also create a similar smart mobility goals and people try to align it. These are some of the solutions I think governments has already adopted and everybody is aware: FASTag, Data Lake, Rajmark App, DAM, CTMS, NSV. These are certain solutions which we have in the recent period adopted at Vertis, like RAMP, Mr. Amrit was talking about. We are using at our roads, ALML based camera inspections, plastic road, pavement iteration modeling, satellite imagery analysis, which one of the startup providing to us, road safe and roadcast app for helping the road users, then renewable and smart lighting solutions. These are those solutions which currently we are using. Plastic road, which we have used at a larger scale at one of our project, and so startups can focus on such innovative materials. So at last, I will say that by creating an ecosystem, we can make India's roads as a truly smart, safe, and sustainable. And this can happen only with if the entire ecosystem is in sync and all the stakeholders are in sync, then only it is possible.
Okay, thank you. I think the time is already over. Otherwise, I would have taken some of the questions. So we have seen that in this big technology, it brings the platform. Startups bring the passion, and collaboration between the two with the government that can really transform this road technology. Thank you very much. I thank all the esteemed speakers and all of you to attend this particular session, and though we could not allow any questions, but still it was very good discussion. Okay, okay. Okay, then I think there, yes, please.
My question, my name is Vishal, I'm running my innovation business accelerator company. My question, like we focus on, grassroots. Our minister told about DPR. We have to come on ground floor actually. So when we design any innovation, we come on ground, understand problem statement. So my question is there, like, can we India industry can adopt R&D as a service actually, and taking as a one level of business to scale also, accelerate also. Because if we as a startup, if you ask about technical person to again full-fledged along with business marketing, then the our mindset about the find out another problem statement, another do. So what is the industry like, incubate their other entity in there, and where we offer as a R&D as a service actually, whatever problem statement is there, like as we in a road area, we want to offer the 2 rupees to 5 rupees insurance to all the passenger, turbine, solar, street light to the highways, IoT based, sensor to be built, which is connected to NB IoT, which is 10 years of life. So, before what we see the latest challenge is about the fire on buses. What is the Gurgaon, the flood and challenges. So such kind of things as a R&D as service you offer. So how this, Indian industry can take forward this R&D as a service which we want to offer.
For R&D, I think government has already set up, to my knowledge, government has already set up various organization. In the morning also, I think we were having, I don't know, if you have heard about an organization called CDAC, right? So the CDAC is a separate R&D organization of the under MeitY. Right. So the Rajmarg Yatra app, which has been was just shown by my colleague, I mean, just now, it has been developed by CDAC only. Right. NHI has engaged CDAC as a developer to develop to help NHI to develop do all R&D part. And also we have reached out to CDAC, and also time to time we, I mean, I can talk about NHI and IHM. We have reached out to many IITs and IIMs of the world to help us guide. So, as such, R&D institute, yes, there are various center of excellence kind of a concept which has been there, right? For example, in GNSS tooling, which was being done. So there was also a concept called, I mean, why not set up a center of excellence in collaboration with IIT Kanpur? So such R&D, I think government does. I'm sure other department might also do this. I mean, this is something not new. I think Joydeep sir can add more on.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, please.
yeah. I have a mic. Hello. Question
yes.
for Mr. Sanjay Nirmal.
Please.
Can highways be used for solar power generation?
I think some of the countries have started some pilot projects, particularly Netherlands. They have tested 1 kilometer track, and if the technology gets proven, I think it can be used anywhere. In fact, only yesterday or day before yesterday, I saw one of the WhatsApp message from China probably that even the speed breakers are being used for just generation of electricity.
But in India, have we done
India,
anything?
once it is proven, and then if there is a local indigenous R&D, then we can start that. Yes. Yes, please.
We are talking about the fast tag, but actually it is a slow tag. There are a number of cases at the toll plaza. The scanners are not working, or manipulation is there, or the long queues are there of the vehicles. So these are not the fast tags, these are the very slow tags. And second point is the account debited, fast tag account debited, but vehicle not crossed. So there are a number of cases on that. Secondly, we are talking about the law enforcement and the use of technology. The scanners, the vehicle going on the wrong side, the heavy vehicle, so and so. There is a record on that. 43 million pending challans. 43 million pending challans till September 2025. Out of this 43 million, challan through cameras, okay, the AI cameras, 31 million. As on date, September 25, I'm talking about within 6 months. And challan through officers, 12 million. So what is the use of these cameras? challan made, but not yet settled, not yet been attended, not vehicle import. So that is my question. Thank you.
So I'll have to take this one. See, we are open to criticism. We are open to feedback, right? So, you're most so when you say FASTag is a slow tech, so definitely it's on upon us to look into the whatever. I mean, we are continuously working on improving how the FASTag can be streamlined and all. So yes, there are some cases of double deduction. We are not denying that, and we have time to time release so many policy circulars and all. So that see the ecosystem is very large, and we are talking about transaction around 1.1 to 1.2 crores of transaction per day. Per day, so every second 120 or 130 number of transactions is happening at around 1800 toll plaza across the country. So we time to time we receive this complaint not only via email or via 1033 or the respective bank's call center. But what the good part I'm just saying that the good part is the complaint, the number of complaints, such complaint is less than 0.02% of the total number of transaction. However, that number is also not no, in terms of absolute. We are not saying it is very less. We are still trying to improve the how the system performs and all. So government, as you can see, there has been a lot of talks about multi-lane free flow, barrierless tolling. So that's why the government is trying to improvise the existing system, right? So slow tech, there is a concern, right? There is some congestion. However, we may write on the slides and we talk about and goodies and all, but there are certain toll plaza, far-flung areas, or even in depending on the traffic near urban areas, there are congestion. So there is no denying that. That's why we are in the process of identifying those congested plaza. And as Secretary Sir mentioned in his session, also we have identified 25 such congested plaza, wherein we would implement this multi-lane free flow plaza within this financial year. Right. So we are working on it. So government is very serious on how to reduce congestion or eliminate any congestion as such. Regarding e-challan, yes, that is something which directly doesn't pertain to NHI because that is not our jurisdiction. But the number. Sorry. So see, all right. So certain thing as an IHMCL or as an authority or technological arm of the government, we can provide the technology as an enabler, right? So we can help identify or detect the violation. But uske baad, after that, if somebody is not paying the challan, so this is something a bigger societal issue or myself or the user behavioral issue, which is which is for all of us, including you and me, for us to think. Because if there are certain millions of e-challan which are not paid, because challan generated because see somebody has defaulted, right? After all validation, right? In the morning also I showed some data of the recently inaugurated Dwarka Expressway Plaza. Expressway. There are 600 number of challans which are daily generated. So we can, our limitation is up to that only. So if somebody is oversitting, somebody is not following the lane lane discipline or driving in the opposite direction, triple riding, helmet, no seat belt, we can identify those in there. But post that, once the challan is issued, that is something the onus on the citizen as well. So wherein I think we, not only from the authorities perspective, we have to think as a collective, as a society.
Okay, I think. So
Yeah.
last question. Okay, please be brief.
Yeah, Mr. Rahul from Vertis, as you have said that you provide satellite images services. So beyond this smart road, if it is a smart cities solution, say I'm talking about garbage burning, then to help identify municipal corporation to identify spots where garbage burning is done on daily basis, can the satellite imaging services be used for such identification on highways or within the cities, industrial cluster, residential cluster, market cluster, like that?
I think certainly it is possible, because this one of the startup, Nashik-based startup, they approached us. Basically, they said you will be able to give you a solution wherein you will be able to see if any deformation is there in the RE walls. Recent, I think most of us are aware, there were certain failures in RE walls on certain approaches. So they came forward, they said you will be able to provide the services wherein through satellites we can see the deformation and accuracy will be up to 3 mm. So whatever you are talking about garbage, that is very much possible. So we can certainly identify those spaces.
So, thank you, panelists. I know that
Okay,
it
thank
could
you.
continue on, and the topic is getting pretty interesting in terms of why is it that we don't pay our challans. So, well, that's a case for all of us to ponder as to why is it that we don't pay the entire chalan that we are chalaned for, and why is it that we ask for a lower amount. So, anyway, coming back to all of you, I'd really like to thank all of you panelists for your super insights. On behalf of CII, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers, dignitaries on the dais, and other dignitaries and guests who were part of this very important discourse on the future of smart roads in India. Please join us for a tea at the end of this event on a very warm note. Thank you, everyone.